Hi, welcome to Think Human. I'm Chris, and in this video, I want to talk about some pseudoscientific ideas and beliefs and a little bit about them. I could not possibly list every pseudoscientific idea. I'm sure in the future we'll talk more about them, but I would just like to list a few and to think a little bit about why people believe in these kind of things. First thing that is so prevalent in today's world is believing in astrology, a star sign, that the position of some celestial objects in our solar system somehow influences, or even stars that are light years away, somehow influences your life as a human being. Now, physically, that is a really difficult sell to make, because some object that is literally millions of kilometers away, millions of miles away, could in any shape or form affect the life that you're living. Of course, you could argue against it and say the butterfly effect, maybe the position of Venus on the day of your birth, moved some gas cloud, and that gas cloud blocked the part of light that was heading its way to Earth, and then one person saw a cloud when otherwise they would have seen light, and that caused them to have a positive thought and not kill someone, or this is crazy, right? But you could make arguments for pretty much anything. I'm not sure that made any sense, but pretty much you can rationalize anything, and people who believe in astrology don't even make that much of an effort. It's so bizarre how people just take it as fact, as if you go to some astrologist and they just ask you, okay, what's your date of birth, and little bit some details, pointless details about yourself, and then you tell them, and then you're like, okay, very interesting. Okay, so when you were born, it was this year, and Mercury was here, and the moon was in the retrograde, and the atmosphere of the planet was in this configuration, and that means that your life is headed in a particular direction, and this will have profound implications in your future. And I mean, there's no explanation to it. It's just just because. Okay, that's absurd. Then, I think people are, in some way, people who are not familiar with the scientific method, with the scientific community, people kind of, and understandably in some situations, people kind of lose trust in the system. People lose trust in the government, and it's sad that at the same time, for most people, this goes hand with every big institution. So if they lose faith in the government, for example, then they also lose faith in science and the scientific method. They also lump it all together into one thing. They're the system, they're the enemies, and they look for every possible alternative that they could have. And if there's some people telling them, hey, I can read your future, and it's magical and interesting, then of course people are gravitated to that. There is this idea of the flat earth, which really do not need to explain to you. If you're looking at my channel, then I respect you enough that you this is not in the realm of us debating it, because it's just a waste of time. I wonder, there are many so smart people who spend hours and hours and years of their lives debating people who believe that the earth is flat, and I doubt if these people really deep down believe that the earth is flat, but yet still really smart people debate people on this and waste their time. To me, it's an absolute waste of time, because it's just lost cause. You could use your resources for so much better things. You have a certain amount of money, you have a total piece of crap car that's not working at all. Everything in this car is broken, and it's an old car, and to manufacture new parts takes a lot of money. So you can invest your time and energy into fixing up this super old car, and even if you fix it to its perfect condition, it's still shittier than any car in today's world. Or you could, buy a new car, or fix up a new better car. Analogy that I'm making is teaching people, and when you should put the effort in. Sometimes it's just not worth it. I believe everyone should be educated and encouraged to think more and ask questions and think critically, but it's it's so absurd that like I wouldn't even give them credit to like even to debate them on it. Do you know what I mean? Then there is hollow Earth theory. This theory that the Earth is actually hollow from inside. Yeah, and then there is a theory of hollow moon, that the moon is actually empty inside, and it's like some kind of alien civilization living inside the moon, which is quite interesting. It's fun to speculate about these things. What else do we have? Then we have sort of more conspiracy theories like the Bermuda Triangle. And some time ago when I was quite young, first times I've heard about the Bermuda Triangle was from some documentary, and I was like, oh, fascinating. There's like this space in ocean where like some mysterious things happen, like planes disappear, ships disappear, no one hears about it. Strange. But then look about it a little bit, and like the area is always exaggerated, and in fact never the same area people talk about. And on top of that, it's just one of the most common places where storms happen, and one of the most common places where communication ceases. And once you know these simple things, it's not really that mysterious anymore. Then we have people believing in perpetual motion machines, free energy machines, and people dedicating their entire lives to try to come up with some mechanisms and systems that would produce more energy than they take in. And by the thermodynamic laws, that's impossible in our universe to get free energy. You can't get out more energy than you put in. That's just simple physics. That's so simple. And yet some people just cannot get it into their heads. And again, I'm sure all of these people could get it. They could comprehend and understand why it wouldn't work, but it's just the principle kind of objection to authority, and in this case scientific authority. And this is a whole nother topic that I want to make a video about as well, how we should not trust scientific authority simply because some smart dude somewhere says something. That does not make it true. Just because it's written somewhere in an internet article doesn't mean it's true. The way that I collect information, I just consume tons and tons and tons of different resources, and I kind of take the average, what's like the most median consensus, and you formulate your own opinions like that. But yeah, I mean, I guess there's something really attractive to some certain types of people for these kind of things. And then don't get me started on medicine, crystal healing, acupuncture, what was it, homeopathy, where essentially you have drugs, used to be drugs, that are diluted down into such extent that there is no active component anymore remaining in the solution that you're giving people. So essentially how homeopathy works is that you take, let's say you take aspirin, and then you mix it, that it's like 1 part per thousand in a like big jug of water. Then you mix that jug of water like 10 times. Like you dilute this 1 jug of water into 10 jugs the same size. Then you take one of those jugs, dilute it to 10 of other jugs, and keep going and keep going and keep going until eventually you have a jug of water that has no single molecule of aspirin left in it. And the way that these people say that it works is because water, of course, has memory, and it's super magical, and water remembers everything that's ever been in there. And if that were true, then in besides whatever healing component you want it to have, it would have the waste products and urine and plutonium and radioactive particles and toxic waste in it, as well as your small dose of aspirin or whatever healing mumbo medicine you want to put in there. So that's like makes no sense, but this is really common theme that we find in alternative medicines. Now I think a balance could be found. I think people definitely should not underestimate the placebo effect. If there are people who definitely want to do something, and this alternative type of medicine doesn't necessarily harm them, I think that is something that they should take, they should do. But as complementary do real actual treatments that physically do something to you. It shouldn't be one or the other. It shouldn't be I'm either only doing this or I'm only doing that. People go too deep into extremes, and this is something that I've talked about before. People have this all or nothing mentality. Same thing with changing your life in positive direction. Like, it's baby steps. It doesn't need to be all or nothing, one extreme. It doesn't need to be you eat junk food every day all the time, or you work out like insane person working out all the time. So it doesn't, like, there is a middle ground that you can have. You can eat donuts like some days a week sometimes, but it's also good to walk around and be physically active sometimes. It's not all or nothing, but these people think as if you can only have one or the other. But I think they could be complementary, and some placebo effects definitely do well, have good results for people. I'm so sick when I started talking with people. So I had a back injury, so one of my spine discs have been slipped, so I have spinal disc herniation, or slip disc, or whatever you want to call it. And it's so comical, like people that I talk with, even cab drivers or whatever, when we just have a conversation, whatever, and then they say, oh, I know this miracle man. I used to have a problem with my back as well. I went to this miracle man. He just looked at my back. Yep, this is wrong, made a few adjustments. Now, no pain whatsoever. And it's like half of the time I'm trying to hold back laughter, half of the time I'm just incredibly annoyed and infuriated, because placebo effects are powerful. But if just some old random guy telling you that, yeah, I know what I'm doing, this is again the idea of authority. People are really suggestible to authority, especially suggestible people are suggestible to authority. And if someone tells them with a confident voice, yes, I will fix you, even with placebo pills, I will give you this pill and it will fix you. Even if the pill is made of sugar and you take it, if you believe in it, you feel better, and it can actually help your pain. Now, I just can't fall into that, because I am just not susceptible to that. I'm way too critical for that. I think there might be something in chiropractors have a really bad name, but some kind of spinal adjustments I'm sure might do something. But you should first go to a physical therapist. This cab driver that I was talking with described this miracle man who fixed his back, and this miracle man told him to not go to a doctor. For whatever you do, don't go to a doctor. Only come to me. I will fix your back. Don't speak with any doctor. And I was like, wow, that's messed up. When it goes as far as these miracle medicine men or women, whatever they are, tell you to not even speak to a doctor, then that is messed up. When they say it's a last resort, that's messed up. Do I have anything else in my list? I had magnet therapy, so using magnets to heal you, which do absolutely nothing to you, unless really strong magnetic currents can do things. Not with your body itself. You can try to gravitate hemoglobin in your blood, I guess, for some result, I don't know, but it can affect your mental states. Really powerful magnetic fields can do that, but not any magnets that you can put into some kind of strap around your waist or neck or whatever. Those do absolutely nothing. That's 1,000 rods. It's like people finding water with those 2 rods, and yeah, it's just, what are we talking about? It's so stupid. But I think this is wanting to believe in something that's I guess people like having their own kind of world, their own kind of thing, their own kind of cult. It's kind of like a religion almost. Their own sort of belief that they have, and they can have these small little communities around it. And I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, it's just coping for people. Some ways of coping with the world, and placebo effects, like we said, are really powerful. So they can make a huge difference. But people, when they lack this critical thinking ability to make the distinction of what is nonsense and what is not, like this is a joke video essentially, just just made like talking about these ridiculous things. Like I would never even like waste time or your time debating these things seriously, because it's so absurd and ridiculous. But there are interesting psychological phenomena that go along with these, and the placebo effect is an interesting thing to think about and talk about. So this is just some rant about pseudoscience and alternative medicine, and I hope there are some thoughts in here for you. If you have any thoughts, please share them in the comments, and of course, thank you so much for watching, and take care.